Hi, this is Jonathan Rosenhead, Jerusalem psychotherapist. This week's Torah and Psychology post with Pasha Metzora is going to discuss self-diagnosis. In this week's Pasha, we read about the owner of the house that goes to the Kohen to tell him about the saras that is on the house. And the pasuk uses the wording of Kenega Nirali Babayit, that the person should say, it seems to be that I have saras on my house. I think that there is saras on my house. And Rashi comments on this language and says that even if the person is a Talmid Chacham, that they are certain that there are signs of saras on their house, they should still say that I am not sure, that I think. And they should not self-diagnose, but rather they should rely on the Kohen to make the diagnosis. So in the context of mental health, this is giving a message of not self-diagnosing, because there are certain dangers to self-diagnosis. In today's world, there is a plethora of information, and there's access to mental health information. And to a certain extent, this is something positive. It reflects the fact that there is greater awareness of mental illness and of mental health in today's world. And a person can open up the DSM or the ICD, the manual that is used by mental health professionals, or they could look at information that is on the internet, or look at forums on social media. And all this can be used for self-diagnosis, but it's possible that it will just increase a person's anxiety. And what will happen is that they will look at this and say, yes, this is me. This is what I am suffering from. And they will self-diagnose. And perhaps they will not make an accurate diagnosis. Because in order to diagnose, a mental health professional goes through a process of training, of being able to take all the information and the criteria, and to be able to process this and to make an accurate diagnosis based on this information, which a person, just by looking at information on the internet, would not be able to necessarily make an accurate diagnosis. Secondly, in order to be able to diagnose, you need to be able to be objective. This is the position of a mental health professional. They are the objective person who is able to take an external perspective of the situation. Because a person, in order to be able to diagnose, needs to be able to separate themselves from the illness or from the symptoms. They need to be able to separate themselves from their mind to be able to understand to be able to understand and analyze the workings of their own mind. And this is very difficult to do, and therefore a person can fall into a trap of making an inaccurate self-diagnosis. Thirdly is that even if you want to self-diagnose, if a person wants to self-diagnose, it's difficult or not possible to self-treat. There are self-help books that can be useful to help a person to manage or to cope with certain situations, but in terms of treatment, you need a mental health professional to actually treat if there is a specific course of treatment that is required. And just from not just from a technical perspective, but also from a bureaucratic perspective, if a person gains and receives an official diagnosis, this opens up the access to certain services and official support that they can get through an official diagnosis. And the person will be missing out, therefore, if they just self-diagnose and try to self-treat. So even if a person cannot self-diagnose, there is something that they can do. It's very important to say they can take all this certainty that there is a problem, that there is something that they need help with, and they can self-refer. They can look for somebody that can help. They can go to a mental health professional and say, I have this and this and this. I'm suffering from this. I'm experiencing this, and I need help. Definitely a person can self-refer, and the job of the mental health professional is to sit and listen and give the person the opportunity to express all their concerns, to express their certainties, what they are certain about, what they definitely feel is wrong, and the mental health professional will hopefully give empathy and will validate these feelings, and through this process the person can gain the treatment that they need, and therefore the mental health professional will be able to diagnose, but it's based on the referral, based on the self-referral of the person. So I would encourage people, if they do have concerns, to go ahead, and this should be their motivation, to self-refer and to receive the help that they need. Have a great Shabbos and keep well.